Welcome back. It is Saturday, October 7th in the MLB. Our favorite picks are on the way. The divisional series are here. Let's first off recap how we did a couple days ago on the final day of the wild card round, a 1 and 2 day. Let's dive in a little bit. Rangers money line, another great call, Logan. We appreciate the 1.4 unit winner. Brewers team total over 3.5 was one of the worst beats. I'm glad they're sitting on the couch for the rest of the postseason. They should have scored like 12 runs, but no, they could only muster up 2 in the first inning. Never scored again. And the Marlins Phillies over 4.5 first 5. Same thing for the Marlins. They could not do anything. There's a reason they're sitting on the couch. We're now into the divisional round. We got 3 picks, and Logan and I are going to be at some of these games. So on Saturday, when you might be watching this video, Logan and I are going to be in Baltimore for the first postseason home game in, I think, over 3,200 days. So it's been a while for Orioles fans. We'll be in attendance. If we see you, hopefully we get to meet some of you guys. We'll be at Pickles Pub. I don't know how long we'll be there, but we're going to go there. Promise you that. Logan and I love that place. But either way, let's dive in the picks. And Logan, you got a pick in Baltimore. Please tell me you're riding with the Orioles, but I know you're not. Who are you going with?
Yeah, no, I'm not riding with the Orioles. I'm sorry. I hate to be that guy. I'm on the Rangers again. I'm taking the Rangers money line. Plus 125 odds on PointsBet, currently your best value there. Yes, I am picking the team that has just been a cash cow for us this postseason so far. I'm picking the Rangers for the 3rd straight time. And why would I go away from them? Am I scared of the Orange Birds? A little bit. Every time I fade them, I swear they go 99 try hard mode. But that's all right though, because I know the Rangers, they're entering this series, heating up in postseason baseball. All the pressure is actually on Baltimore to defend home field advantage. And I love the way this Rangers team's playing. I love the fact that they're playing loose and knowing that, if they steal a game in Baltimore, that sets up really well for when they go back to Globe Life. And so I think, the Rangers are the side I want to be on. I was telling Austin off camera a little bit. This Rangers team, weirdly enough, reminds me of the Phillies from last year, the Phillies postseason run. It's just they got hot at the right time. They have the offense to do it. Their pitching's mediocre, but their offense can definitely carry them to a deep playoff run. Now, who's starting for the Orioles today? It's Kyle Bradish. 2.23 ERA and a 0.95 WHIP at home. Kyle Bradish has been great at home. I'm not saying regular season stats don't matter, but the pressure is on Bradish to live up to those numbers in the postseason as well, because those are like kind of unsustainable numbers. I mean, he pitched so dang well. He got out of a ton of jams. He would put a lot of guys on, via walk, and he would just be able to wiggle his way out though. Against Texas, could he struggle a little bit? Yes. Bradish faced them twice earlier in the season. He went 1 2/3 innings pitched, 0 earned runs, 6 2/3 innings pitched, 1 earned run. Both those games were early on in the season in April and May. This Rangers team has come a long way since then. It's kind of crazy. Think back to April and May. That's when Austin and I were still picking Nerfies. It was that long ago, and now here we are. In October baseball. Can Kyle Bradish rise to the occasion? I don't know, but what I do know is that Texas is hitting 280 in the postseason, and they saw right-handed pitching well all season long, so they're no stranger to hitting righties. And on the season, Texas, 3rd in runs, 2nd in hits this season. This is an offense that you don't want to mess with. You don't want to give them free base runners, Kyle Bradish. You go out and walk some guys, that's gonna get really dangerous really fast for him. I think this Rangers offense will be clicking, and with the emergence of Evan Carter, gotta shout out him. He's hitting 265 versus righties. Actually, I think that's 365. I think I messed that up, but that's another lefty bat that the Rangers can use to stack this lineup. He's absolutely been smoking right-handed pitching, and like I said, the tack for the Rangers all season long, put your best left-handed bats in there and just see what happens, and it's been paying dividends for them. Now, who's starting for the Rangers today? It's scheduled to be Dane Dunning, and if it is or isn't, I don't really care. It doesn't actually change my analysis all that much, because I don't think Dane Dunning's going to go that deep into this game anyway. But if it is Dane Dunning, 3.1 ERA and a 1.32 WHIP on the road for Dane Dunning, decent numbers. He likely goes 5 innings pitched, which would be probably the sweet spot for him. I really don't want to see Dane Dunning into the 6th inning, and maybe it's a Dane Dunning masterclass, and then he's coming out. But I think we most likely get 5 innings pitched from him. And he enters with a 0.87 ERA in his last 2 games, which should give us a chance against this talented Baltimore lineup. I'm not asking him to go out and pitch a shutout, 5 innings scoreless. That's probably not going to happen. But I just want him to give us a chance, and I think he does that today. None of the Orioles currently have a career batting average over 250 against Dane Dunning, which is, definitely notable. Baltimore, actually, this could be surprising. They only hit 250 at home this season. They were 18th in runs and 20th at hits at home. So at Camden Yards, they're actually not as great at an offense as you might think. You know, a lot of their production, weirdly enough, came on the road. I think I find them in a vulnerable situation here. And statistically, there's not a huge advantage for bullpens. Over the last month, Texas 13th in bullpen ERA, Baltimore 14th in bullpen ERA. I liked what I saw from the Rangers bullpen in Tampa Bay, and I'm hoping and optimistic that it can carry over to this series. We know the bullpen, plagued the Rangers for much of this year. But in postseason baseball, I've seen bad bullpens be good. Yeah, and the opposite. We've seen it all be true. The Rangers, there's value on them once again on the money line, getting plus money, and I'll go ahead and take a shot on them. But Austin, where are you going for your first pick?
Logan, you put us in a tricky position as we will be in attendance in the game and we will have money on Rangers money line. Now, obviously, if they lose, we won't necessarily be too mad because we'll be in attendance and the Orioles fans will probably be going pretty nuts. But I actually like the pick in the sense from, I think if the Rangers are to steal a game on the road, I think it's game one. We think about this Orioles team, super young roster. This is their first playoff game for nearly this whole team. They could come in here with a little bit of jitters, and we've seen already the Rangers already go through 2 games of the postseason, kind of get that jitters out of the way. They hit well. Hopefully they continue that in Baltimore. Obviously, it's much more advantageous to be a lefty in Baltimore than it is a righty, so they can stack those lefties. We'll see how it goes. Should be a great game. Hopefully we'll get to meet some of you all there. If you see us, definitely say hello. We would love to do that. But I'm going to go to Houston for my favorite pick, and here's what I'm going to roll with. It's going to be a same-game parlay, a bit tricky. Let's talk about it. I'm taking the Astros money line and their team total over 2.5 runs. Parlay together, it's about minus 120 on BetMGM. This identical play, minus 125 on DraftKings. If you're looking to take it on FanDuel, they don't unfortunately let you do this kind of parlay. So my only pivot would be the Astros money line. That's just a tad too juice for me. This was my easiest way of trying to reduce that juice. And hopefully, if the Astros win, which we obviously need to happen, hopefully they score 3 runs. If they score 1 or 2 runs and win, just know I will be in Baltimore that night pretty down bad. But either way, let's talk about this one and why I like the Astros to win and at least get us 3 runs. And like this is a Twins team, just like we've talked about, teams like maybe like the Marlins or the Brewers, they just weren't ready for prime time. Or though they were ready for, let me take a step back. The Twins, great for them. They beat the Blue Jays. Blue Jays stink. We all know that. We've all seen it plenty of times. However, going on the road in Houston is a little bit of a bigger test. If we could see them, not at home, maybe we see the stage a little bit too bright for them, just like we saw for teams like the Marlins who are now out of the playoffs. So I think when we see here, I think Houston's going to have Minnesota's going to have their hands full in game 1 of this series, and I could see easily the Astros beating them up a little bit and kind of saying, hey, welcome, you're not playing the Blue Jays again, a team that can't hit with runners in scoring position, makes too many mistakes. It's the reigning champs, a team that's obviously been here plenty of times. They won't have a lot of jitters for this matchup. And we look at who's going to start for the Astros. It's going to be Justin Verlander. I mean, the long veteran. I mean, he's going to start. He's pitched 207 2/3 innings in the playoffs with a 3.64 ERA. He's not a guy that's coming in here making his first ever start like the Twins will be trotting out Bailey Ober. This is a guy that's been here plenty of times. He's had a 2.92 ERA the second half of the season, and he's capped off his last 2 starts. 13 innings pitched, only 1 earned run allowed, entering, throwing the ball really well. Now, he has struggled a little bit in Houston in terms of pitching that ballpark, but when the lights are the brightest, I expect Verlander to step up and pitch pretty decently. Now, the Twins have hit right-handed pitchers a little bit better than you would think over the past few months. They've been really good against righties, but I still do think this big game on the road, I just don't necessarily know if they'll be ready. Carlos Correa will try his best to get his team ready to play in Houston in a playoff game that's going to have a crazy atmosphere. I just don't think it's going to get it done. You look at Verlander's K-prop, sitting at 6.5, not just, plus money on the over, minus 150 on the over. Verlander only had 7 Ks and only, you look at only 8 of 27 starts. So, look, I just think we're going to see the Twins swinging and missing a lot. Verlander should be able to get it done. Now, on the other side, the Astros likely face Bailey Ober. What's scheduled to be Joe Ryan? Now I think it's Bailey Ober. He's going to start 3.43 ERA and a 1.07 whip. You look at Ober, has allowed 2 earned runs or more in 10 of his last 12 starts. He's coming off 2 great starts, 0 and 1 earned runs. However, that was against the Rockies and the Athletics, 2 teams that have mailed it in for the past 3 months. So I think he's going to come in here, and I think he's going to have some hard contact, which is what he's been doing. He throws 45% fastball. This is a guy that's 23rd in barrel percentage, 12th in ground ball percentage. You're not getting a lot of ground balls, getting the ball up in the air. That's not a great recipe for success for a team in Houston that knows how to hit in their own ballpark. So So I think at the end of the day, we'll see Houston be able to pull away from this one, at least get a couple runs, but hopefully 3 or more up on over. Give us a no sweat bet. Over the last 10 games, you look at these two bullpens, Astros third in bullpen ERA, Twins fifth. But I still do think the Astros will be able to score some runs here. If you look at last year, Astros played in 12 postseason games. They scored 3+ or won 12 of them. They scored 3+ runs in 11 of the 12 games they won. The one game they did not hit 3+ runs and won, that was that game in Seattle where they went 18 innings and it was 1-0 final score. Look, they were 12-2 last postseason. I think they're going to roll in game one with Verlander. Give me the Houston Astros. Give me them on the money line and give me them over 2.5 runs. We need 3 runs from the Astros and them to win. -120, I think, is a great price. But Logan, where are you going for your third and final play?
Yep, I'm taking the Phillies +1.5 on the run line though this time. -120 odds on DraftKings currently are best value there. Yeah, you know what? If you want to sprinkle on the money line, I wouldn't call you crazy. That's a little bit too ambitious for me, just because I think this is going to be a close, game, and I want that +1.5 run on my side. Obviously, we know how baseball works. We know if they're the away team, the home team doesn't have to bat in the 9th inning, and the cover run can definitely be decided there. But let's talk about this matchup because it is really interesting. It's scheduled to be Spencer Strider. If you're looking at the book, he's probably not listed yet, or he's not at the time we're recording this video, but I imagine it is Spencer Strider. All signs are pointing for him to start for the Braves. 4.35 ERA and a 1.03 WHIP at home for Spencer Strider. Honestly, that ERA is a little bit higher than I expected. But in 4 games versus the Phillies, Strider has a 2.42 ERA. He's seen them really well. We all know the narrative with Spencer Strider. He's so good at getting the swing and a miss. His K-prop's always, hovering around 9 for a reason, because he does have those put away pitches in an 0-2 count. Spencer Strider is very tough. But the Phillies do have the benefit of seeing Spencer Strider recently. They saw him twice in the middle and end of September. They saw him September 13th and 19th. The familiarity will be there for the Phillies bats. It's not like, they haven't seen Spencer Strider in a while. And last postseason, an epic moment for the Phillies. The Strider only went 2 1/3 innings pitched, gave up 5 earned runs to the Phillies. That was the Rhys Hoskins bat slam game. Everyone remembers that one. The Phillies had some postseason magic last year against Spencer Strider, and you know what? The pressure is on him to atone for his sins that he had last year. The pressure is all on Atlanta in this series. Say what you want, the Phillies are sort of playing with house money. They're the lower seed. They just are going to try to steal one in Atlanta, and Game 1 is a perfect opportunity for them. In two games this postseason, the Phillies are hitting .273. We saw what they did in that warm-up series versus the Marlins. To get their bats ready for this. It was totally a warm-up series. Marlins did not belong in that one. But the Phillies hopefully can transfer some of that offense over into Atlanta in this one, because they are going to need it to go blow for blow versus the Atlanta Braves. Now, who's starting for the Phillies? It's scheduled to be Ranger Suarez, 2.75 ERA and a 1.42 WHIP on the road. Weirdly enough, Ranger Suarez has been a much better pitcher on the road this season. Doesn't make sense, but it doesn't have to. We need a decent outing from Ranger Suarez, and he was a key to the Phillies' postseason run last year. Last year in the postseason, he had a 1.23 ERA in 5 games in the 2022 postseason. So again, Ranger Suarez is no stranger to pitching in key moments, and last year he was pretty much one of the reasons why the Phillies were able to make their deep postseason run and eventually make it to the World Series. Now, one of those games, Ranger Suarez did face the Braves last postseason. He went 3 1/3 innings pitched, only gave up 1 earned run to Atlanta. There's not much I can say about this Braves offense to just try to, bring them down a notch at all. They're historic. They absolutely, in every sort of category, the Braves were ridiculous this year. First in runs, first in hits. It's what they did. They were in a juggernaut offense. But my question to you, and something that you have to be thinking about, is there potentially some rust for these Braves bats? I'm going to go ahead and say it could be there. We've seen it before. Baseball is a game of, hot and cold. It's all about runs. And last year, the Phillies ousted the Braves because the Braves were a little bit rusty. And if we're going to talk about late game in this one, where do I find an edge? I find the edge for the Phillies in this one. In the bullpens. Over the last month, the Phillies are 4th in bullpen ERA. The Braves, 29th in bullpen ERA. With the important cover runs coming late, I want the bullpen that's already seen postseason action, and that would be the Phillies. I think the Phillies have a strong bullpen, and I think they actually do have what it takes to go, blow for blow with Atlanta. I'll take them on the +1.5 run line. I think this is going to be a really great series. If they want to come and win outright for us, that would be sweet. But the +1.5 runs to me is just the safer option and a really good bet worth taking.
Yeah, and those are our three favorite picks of the day. Let us know your favorite picks down below. It's postseason baseball. It's going to be fun. We'll have a lot of fun in Baltimore, and then hopefully we'll see how that game goes. Then we'll be back again for Sunday with some more picks. Well, I think we only have 2 games on Sunday, but we'll see what we like from those videos. Of course, we have some other videos popping up on the screen. If you want to go show some love to them, definitely go do that. Austin Logan signing out. We'll see you guys in Baltimore next. We'll see you then. Peace.